Hey guys, I think I'm live already. Just let me know. Yeah, there it goes. Hey, um, um, well, welcome back to Wednesday's Live here on YouTube. As always, you can ask anything you want, and I'll do my best to answer. I actually had, hi Svein. I had a question from someone regarding exposure when there's let me see exactly what it was. Pedro from Portugal was asking me if you can answer if you want to have more latitude in the film in a very contrasty situation, it's better to pull, for example, 400 to 200 and develop for 200, or for example, expose at 400 and develop 400 normal -1 -2. It kind of comes to be the same thing. I'm not a big user of pulling film. Hi guys, hi JKL and Jacob Hogarth. I'm not a big user of pulling film, not because I don't like it. It's mostly because where I live, when I shoot handheld, you can't really be pulling film. Mostly there's no good light. It's always pretty dark and gray. So I push all my film. In 35, actually, I was using this today. I forgot where it was and found it while I was picking up. This is a Olympus XA4. For those who are not familiar with this, it's the only Olympus. Let me take the flash off, which makes it huge. It's the only Olympus XA. Oops, that flash fell. Which has a 28 millimeter lens. So it's a 28. You probably can't see that there, but it's a 28 millimeters. Hi, Christian. Nice to see you here for the first time. And it's the only Olympus XA that I know will push to 1600. So you probably can't see that either, but up there in those little numbers is 1600. So I'm shooting 1600 film all the time on this little Olympus. Right now, if I try, yeah, it's working. When there's not a lot of light, a little green light goes on, and that's what I shoot. When I'm shooting 35, it's all 1600. This is 1600. If I grab the Zeiss icon, it's also pushed to 1600. That way I can stop it down. I like shooting usually f8, f11, if I need to, f16. So it's not a big thing. When I shoot medium format, I usually shoot a box speed. I don't know why, but I don't like pushing my medium format film. And when I do shoot large format, I usually shoot at either box speed or just about maybe pulling a little bit, but not mostly because I usually expose a little less because film manufacturers always say the film is 400 speed, but it's not actually 400. So yeah, not very experienced, but I would basically do that. Expose it a little bit less and just develop normal. So you kind of give it a bit more light. JKL says, if I develop medium format myself, what I have to do with the paper backing? Okay, so if you're developing medium format yourself, what I do is first roll you get, I grab the paper back and I separate it inside the dark, either darkroom changing bag, and I end up with the film in one hand and the backing paper in the other hand. And that makes me basically pull the backing paper. It has a little sticky tape. I take it off. I've seen sparks coming out of that, but never had a problem with those sparks affecting my negatives. And then the backing paper I set to a side, and that way it's fine, and you can just spool your film. So that's what I do with backing paper. Then you can keep it to wrap presents. You can keep it to wrap your folders, books, or just throw it into recycling. I don't know if you can recycle it as backing paper because it does have a coating for that black. So that would be a good question to ask people like Kodak or Ilford to see what to do with that. Jacob says, one question, are you using filters, especially for large format? If yes, what kind of filters? Some recommendations. Actually, Jacob, I was talking today with a student that came to a workshop, and he just got the 72mm XL Schneider, and he was asking me about the center filter, the how do you say, not neutral density, but you know what I mean, the center correction filter, centered. I never remember the word, but yeah, the center filter, and what filters I recommend. And I actually told him that if I was going to get large format filters, which I still haven't done because I still haven't had a coherent kit that I use all the time. So I would get something like a Lee system. I know it's very expensive, but it's a one-time investment, and that way you have filters for all your cameras. They will work on your medium format, on your 35, on your large format, whatever format you want to shoot. You can use those Lee filters. You can upscale it or downscale it depending on what you need. If you need contrast filters, if you need neutral density filters, if you need a polarizer, you can add it on. So that's basically what I would use. I'm looking into investing in that, but not yet. But I will probably go for Lee, as it being pretty much the premium brand for filters. But yeah, they're not cheap, so that's what I would go. If I was going to recommend something, I would say for architecture, a polarizer is pretty important. If you're shooting something with any kind of clouds, red gives a little bit of a darker sky, pretty dark. If not, orange or yellow will work pretty well. But that's what I use the most when I shoot medium format, is either orange, yellow, and red. Those are the ones. Red making the sky really dark. The thing is, if you live close to the ocean, I've learned that supposedly the red doesn't work so well. So I sadly bought a red one and expected basically almost black skies, and I didn't get it. I was told that something to do with the ocean being closed and the haze coming in doesn't filter properly. Svein says, Analog Adventure, got an RB67 today. It's 93.8. The shutter is so laggy. After you press the shutter, it takes from 1 second to almost 10 seconds before the least shutter response can be usable, but so hard to get used to. Svein, I recommend, as it's a mechanical camera, just keep on shooting with it. The more you exercise the shutter, the probably easier it'll be to come back to, not maybe all the way to the spec, but it'll start working. You got to exercise that shutter. If not, you can send it to a CLA, clean, lube, adjust, and that won't set you back too much. Karmatik, hola. How? Hi, on the bus to the studio to shoot some 4x5 now. How? I read about your flashes. Glad to see that it works now with the Pocket Wizards. Neutral density filter. It wasn't what I meant with a center filter is not the neutral density filter. Actually, I think I have one somewhere here. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so what I meant about the filter, there are alternatives to Lee. Yeah, I've seen a few other alternatives, but haven't looked into it too much. So what I meant for certain filters, especially wide angles, is something like this, which is something really hard to find. Let me see. Oh. There we go. This is a center filter, which has the centers darker and the outside is clear, to correct those differences when you're shooting wide angle lenses and it vignettes naturally. This is the Schneider center filter 3B, and this is for the very wide angle versions of it. I think the 58, 47, and some of those. So yeah, hard to find. Let me see. You guys are talking fast. TV photo, cool. You got an RB Analog Adventure. What model? Pro, Pro S, Pro SD. I actually got a RB, and then the seller never shipped it. And JKL, which do you prefer, the Bronica GS1 or the Mamiya RZ? in my experience, hands down, the Mamiya RZ. I like the bellows is one of my favorite things. I like the interchangeable rotating back, and I love the lenses in the Mamiya. The Bronica works really nicely, but it's not the Mamiya, so that's what I would have to say. Saba says, hi Nico, there are center CR filters 1.5, 3, and 6. What do you think? Are they useful for black and white? Now you got me with a CR. I'm feeling very laggy today, so sorry guys. Center, oh, you're gonna have to tell me what that means right now. Analog Adventure says it's a pro. Christian says, I got the RB last year. Shutter were slow because they sat around long. The blades were stuck and they loose, and they get loose as you use it. That's exactly. And Jacob says, center filters to avoid the vignetting. Exactly. It counteracts for the vignetting. Caulking is an alternative to Lee. Caulking is a mess, in my opinion, says Jacob. Yeah, let's see what there is. I've heard that Wineyard or Wine something filters. I think Ted Forbes reviewed it, but you never know. I gotta look more into it. Sometimes I feel some reviews are very sponsored, to say it the least, but I'm not sure. Have to check them out. House says, I shot a frame looking out the ocean on Hasselblad red filter on an It's a Sunny Day with a bit of cloud. The sky's still dark, but not too much. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I shot some clouds here in the coast, and the red filter didn't make the sky as dark as I thought it would. Garmatic, is there a way to know when to throw away the fixer? I usually reuse it for about 9 to 10 times, but you never know whether I could use it more. There's a fixer, what is it called? Hypo, I'm telling you. Fixer test film. It has a name. I can't remember. Filter exhaustion. Well, yeah, there's a way to know, which is putting it a little drop on your film and waiting to see how long it takes and comparing it with fresh fixer. But there's also some kind of, I think it's hypo check or something like that, which you can put a drop in depending on the color, it will tell you, but I usually use it and dump it every single time I develop. So I maybe develop like 10 rolls on a liter of fixer, and then it goes down the recycling. TV photo, same as me then, a real workhorse. Yeah, I like the RB, I really like it. I want to see if one day I can get one. Federico Flores, what's your opinion about the film Cinestill 800? So I started a video on shooting Cinestill in August. I loaded a roll on a 680 camera, the Fuji GW680, and I was gonna go for a film and beer in Miami, shoot some Cinestill, and make a video out of it. Well, I made the intro, I loaded the film, I went to my film and beer, and what happens to me with weird films or strange films or different films is I never get to use it. I shot 5 shots maybe, and it's been sitting on the camera for the last, I don't know how long, and still haven't used it. So that's my opinion about Cinestill film. It's probably awesome if I got to use it, but I never shoot at night. I never shoot indoors. And if I shoot at night or indoors, I'm shooting 1600 film in black and white, so I never use color. So my opinion is that it's probably awesome, but it's not for me because I never shoot specialty films. Hi, Leighton. How it says difference between RC and warm tone RC paper. I looked at the same papers from Milford, can't see the difference between them. The warm tone gives it like how do you call it? Like a dead white color. So it's not white. So that's what I find. My warm tone papers have a bit more texture, like the white's just not nuclear white. That's what I find. Layton says, Wine County, Ted is friends with them. He did admit to that on his video. Okay. Ooh, guys, you're going fast. Wine County photography only has ND filters. Nisi and Rolly are good alternatives as filter sets similar to Lee, says Jacob. JKL says, how did I start photography and what was my first camera? So I started photography thanks to skateboarding magazines. I used to be very into skateboarding magazines, even wrote a few articles and traveled for it. And photography is huge in that there's a lot of great photographers doing that. And I always had a special place in my collection for the photo editions. They always did an annual one. So I started with that, and my first camera was a Chinon, Chinon, that only had a 51.4. That was my dad's, and it basically barely worked, but I shot a ton of film in that. And from there, my second camera was a Nikon N80 or F80, depends on you were in the US side or Europe side. And from there, I got a girlfriend, and film was too expensive, and I couldn't keep up, so I stopped. But I was developing, I was printing, I was shooting slides, I was trying to get them on publications. One day, maybe I'll go through my archive and show you guys my super skateboarding era. Timothy says, to test fixture, I just clip a small bit of exposed film, put it in a little cup of the fixture, and see if it clears the film. Yeah, basically what I was reading on the one before. I just never even get to that, so I just dump it. Layton says, on the fixture bottle, there should be a statistic to tell you what area, paper, and film it can do. Then just log what you use. I have coded my own darkroom timer. Next mod is tracking chemistry, uses an age. Yeah, I should be better at that. What I do is every time I go to the darkroom, I develop a lot of film. So what I do is I mix fresh fixer. I develop that whole batch of one-day film, and then I get rid of it. So last Saturday, I think I developed over 60 4x5s, and if I see the film's coming out, okay and such, it should be fine with 1 liter. I do mix at 1.4, and it should be fine. So that's how much I do. Usually I end up taking it out, and that's it. Stop bath fixer, developers only one use, 1 shot, and water, which I pre-wash. House says, I use TF4 from photographer's formulary. If the fixture becomes brown, just replace the with fresh fixture. And Karmatic says, thank you, Layton. Lee filters are better. Caulking ND filters have a color cast. I'm not keen on them. Layton says, sorry, my English skills have fled tonight. My English skills are always away, so that's how it goes. JK says, how do you develop paper? The paper I use, which is usually Ilford warm tone fiber base or Ilford RC Pearl, which is what I do my contacts or workshops with. I use Ilford's multigrade chemistry. Then I use Ilford's stop bath, and I think it's Ilford Rapid Fixer, and now I've moved to Tetanol Superfix, I think is the name. I buy the 5-liter bottles because I use a lot. But yeah, that's how I do it. Is there a standard like C41 or like black and white? I mean, paper, what I didn't know when I was doing my own printing when I was skateboarding and probably around 17, 18, is that you had to throw your print inside the developer and give it an equal amount of time every time, and play around with the light and the amount of light you gave it on the enlarger. I don't know why. I guess I never read properly or never was taught properly. I thought once you throw it in the developer, I would pull it out when I think it was okay. So I never got consistent results. I was always getting messy because, of course, you don't get it. So what I do now, of course, is you throw it in the developer, give it an even amount of time every single time, and judge on the finished print, and then play around with the light or the amount of light you give the print, either by time, by closing, stopping the lens down, adding neutral density if you need to, dodging burning, stuff like that. But yeah, there is a standard to do it. Layton says, Tethanol Ilcobrom, best paper developer I have ever used. Layton says, I use Tethanol Superfix Plus as well, 1.4 for everything. I think for paper I do 1.9, but I can't remember. It's been so long. I got to get it all ready back for printing the rewards for the Kickstarter. House says, you develop paper just like black and white film and use developer especially for paper. Yep, exactly. It's pretty much the same thing. You can also stop with water or not stop at all, just go straight to fixer. The problem is if you go straight from developer to fixer, your fixer will exhaust faster. So it's good to give it a wash and maybe even put it in stop. I mean, I go from developer, stop, fixer, then I give it a pre-wash, and from there I go to the archival, I don't know how to say it. Sorry. The archive water washer thing with the bubbles and stuff. So that's how I do it. I found if I went from fixer straight to the vertical washer, the silver used to stay on the bottom of the paper, and I didn't like that, so I give it a pre-wash for a few minutes. Nathan says, I use 10 times the time it takes for an image to form, so around 1 minute 30 seconds. Never pull a print. Try not to look at it. Yeah, I learned that when I came back to film. But yeah, I do exactly the same time. 1 minute 30 seconds, around 20 degrees. I have one of those Patterson triple timers, and it works really nice because it gives you little beeps between. So yeah, basically that. Something I want to share with you guys, and I don't know, maybe it's useful or not. It's taken me forever to find one. I got it in the mail today. Is for those who shoot FP100C, you know that your 405 film holder doesn't use the whole 4x5, but it cuts out. So I finally found the template for how much it cuts out. These are a photocopy. The original one is actually in here. It's pretty cool. So this you put on the back of your 4x5, and it will give you exactly the frame that you're going to get on FP100C. Because when I've been doing workshops, we've been trying to guess it, and I usually do 2 fingers on one side and 1 on the other. But I've been cutting ears. Sorry, my kid woke up. I've been cutting out ears from the students, so I got this finally. And I will scan it with a ruler on both sides so you guys can print it and use it if you want. Analog Adventure, I just want to give Fomapan a plug. I have now used a lot of film, the R09 developer, the LQN paper developer, and have bought Fomadon XL to try. I haven't even tried their inkjet paper. It's good quality. Foma's pretty good quality for the price, I have to say. I use it too. I use it too for a large format to save some money sometimes, but it's not bad at all. And Leighton says it's archival. Yeah, exactly. That's how you say it. Thank you, Leighton. No mean to say sorry. I really appreciate, because I don't hear these words from other people. It's hard sometimes to find the proper way to say it. Federico says, how real is to use an exposure meter for Leica M3 or Rolleiflex 2.8F? What do you mean, how real is to use the exposure? If you're asking about the inside camera meter, I wouldn't be sure about using it, I rather use an external light meter. My external light meter, give me a sec, I'll get it so you guys can see it. What I use, sorry guys, this is the meter I use 99% of the time, and it works great. As you see, it's 1600. Right now it reads f2.8 1/60th, has flash metering, has reflective metering for hog earth, which is a big reflective metering guy. I use always incident, and that's how I do it. And I never had a problem with the Leica M3, M2, Rolleiflex 2.8F, or any other camera. Leighton says, FOMA R09 is fantastic. I use it for film. The LQN paper I found was good, slightly cool, but lasted no time at all. It just went bad after one session. Oh, wow. That's not good. JKL says, I saw at the German Fujifilm site, and I still see FP100C. Yeah, that's something that you'll see with most film manufacturers is usually when they discontinue something, they will take forever to remove it from their website. So right now in Europe, I can't find FP100C. Last Christmas, I had to bring a bunch of it from the US into Europe because there was none here available at all. First, the price has tripled, or sometimes even it's like 4 times more expensive than it used to be. Second, you can't find it. The Barbas, what is the Rolls Royce of large format cameras 8x10? If I had to say there's a Rolls Royce of large format cameras 8x10, there's a few. Ebony 8x10, Lotus 8x10, Arca Swiss 8x10, and Cinar 8x10 for me are the 4 best, probably. I've used the Ebony, I've used the Cinar, I've never used the Arca. I've seen the 4x5, and yeah, those are to me the best. Lotus, I do have film holders from Lotus, but that's it. Maybe he's asking how hard it is. In that case, it's not hard at all. Yeah, the metering, it's not hard at all to meter. Leighton says, finally saw the entire picture. Hopefully soon I'll have internet at the studio. I'll do this live stream at the studio in the darkroom studio space so you guys can see, ask, and I can have more things available because this is just me at home. And this is probably the worst background, but it's where the plug is. So I have to use this. I have a bunch of cameras on a shelf, pictures and gear and stuff on the other side. I should do the turnaround. It looks like Ted Forbes' little space. Godmatic says, I have the same light meter. Best light meter I think you can buy. 100 euros is the best price for this. Johannes says, even an old light meter usually is good enough for a negative film. E6 is more sensitive. I mean, if you're shooting negative film or black and white, you can even go with Sunny 16. E6 is a lot more picky. Leighton says 308 is a great meter. Wish it had a spot meter, but meh. I actually live pretty happy without spot meter. I own 2 spot meters at the moment, and I barely use them at spot metering. I probably will start using them more now that I want to get out with the large format more. So we'll see how it goes. Analog Adventure says, Mike, LQN has developed 40 8x10 so far. Leighton says, Fujifilm hates film, makes no mistake. They will kill all stocks at some point. This makes me sad and angry. I love Acros and will hate when it's gone. I also love Acros, and I mean, I have a bit of a love-hate with Fuji. I have to admit, they're still the only ones making slide, which is a huge deal. They were still the only ones holding on to that FP100C basically till now. They have their black and white paper. They have the black and white film. They've been pulling things off, but they could have just cut it off years ago, and they're still not doing it. So That's what I feel about it. Hope they don't, but yeah. Johanna says Deerdorf is king of large format. I hear. Deerdorf are pretty amazing tools, but I've never used one. I've always wanted to have an 8x10 from them, but I mean, they are. I think it's like the American king of large format. So I would say it's one of those American cars, you know, the muscle cars. It's just like heavy, big, and heavy and big. But yeah, I would love to try one day. Leighton says, maybe I was just unlucky. I made me use Tethanol and I have never looked back. Hogger says, I'm so over this stupid I hate Fuji attitude. People have, it's so tired. No, I mean, it's all a matter of opinions. Let's just keep it calm here, guys. But yeah, I keep on buying FP100C. I probably will start buying slide from Fuji as soon as I have, you know, start organizing going out with a large format, because I do want to shoot some large format slide. But I don't know if I'll shoot Provia, which is easy to get. Velvia 50 is really hard. You're going to bring it from Japan. But we'll see how it goes. Analog Adventure, the FOMA 400 film claims you can expose it from 200 to 1600 without changing the developing times. That makes no sense to me, and I haven't found that it's correct in my testing. Wonder why they claim it. A lot of a few people in the photography and like manufacturing say things like that, but I found it's best. I usually shoot my Fomapan 400. Either expose it at 250, develop it at 400, so normal time. And when I've done 1600, I've pushed it to 13 minutes with HC 110 in B. So it goes from, I think, like 5 to 6 minutes to 13. And it's worked so far pretty good. I will be doing a little up-to-date video on the travel wide. I finally catched up on developing. I probably shot 300-ish sheets with that camera. And I think I have probably 20 to 30 good shots that I would love to share. So I'll make a video on the travel wide with a review for it. But yeah, got a Cinar little lens board here, which I found today. And a front standard from a Chamonix that I found today. So many little random bits around. Horace says, sorry. It's okay, Horace. I mean, it's all talking. It's hard to, you know, keep it sometimes in a good vibe. And Leighton's a great guy. So let's see. Leighton says, just annoys me because their counters are kidding great products. Make no mistake, they're a great camera company. Leighton says they probably make the best digital bodies at the moment, in my honest opinion. I wish I could tell you if there are or not, but I'm not very good. I actually just bought a digital camera and I'm pretty not good at it. Hogger says people didn't get all mad about Kodak killing Ektachrome or Kodachrome or Plus X. No one gets so angry at other places discontinuing films. Yeah, I always remember the day Kodak announced discontinuing slide film. That came with no word before. They just dropped, which was really bad. The day that Polaroid went bankrupt, also horrible. But Fuji's, I think, has done it in a way that upsets many because it's kind of like a foreseeing to the future of a different products. I mean, the whole makeup industry, the whole Instax line, the whole, you know, all that stuff they're making, digital line, they managed to change their business. There's a great video talking about it on YouTube. And that's kind of like a little nerve wrecking when you see they actually don't really need to stop making it. When you see something goes bankrupt, there's no doubt they went bankrupt. There's nothing to do. But when you see they're slowly dying that film part, it's hard to swallow, I feel. And that's why people get so angry or aggravated with it. And Hogarth is a huge Fuji guy, so he shoots a ton of slide. Let's hope Ferrania can make it soon. It is sad, I get it, and I shoot a ton of film, Fuji, sorry, and I'll be sad when it's gone. I'll at least be happy I shot as much as I could when I could. Let's see. Stuart says, I have a Sekonic L208, easy to carry around. When taking a reflective measurement for a landscape, I have underexposures. Here to point it down 45 degrees towards the ground for the readings. Thoughts? Stuart, nice to see you first. It was my first light meter, the Sekonic L208. I bought it brand new, and I never got proper meterings with that light meter. I think it worked. I think either I was terrible at metering, which could be the case. I was very new at the whole light meter thing. I mean, I didn't even understand the whole dome thing, what it was for. But landscapes and reflective, that's something I was talking with Hogarth today through, I don't know, Messenger or WhatsApp. And I always meter with the incident. And yeah, landscape people like reading reflective. What I do is, if I'm up in the landscape, because you're going to probably be in the landscape or shooting landscape, I either meter in the shade or in the sun, where I want to choose my exposure. So by this, I mean if I'm shooting a landscape and it's a mountain and it's in the shade because the sun is behind, I will meter the shade to know if I want to expose the mountain that's in the shady part or I want to expose the light. If I want to expose the light, I would turn the meter around, meter the sun, and then decide I want to keep the highlights on the sky. So I don't use the reflective. I find it sometimes inaccurate, especially, I mean, if those picky situations that might be something very shiny or very reflective that will give my light meter a little off. So I meter always with the incident. So Stuart, I can't really tell you much. I would recommend maybe you try to find the manual for it. And if you can't find it, let me know and I'll try to help you out by researching a little bit more on it. I know when someone else I know uses it, so I can ask. Back to spot meter. Stuart, this little meter works really well. And it's really inexpensive for what it does. Let me see. Carmatic, when are you visiting Hamburg? Well, that's a good question. I'm planning hopefully to go to Helsinki by the end of this next month. So March, beginning of March, I'll be going to Helsinki and Tampere, hopefully, visiting Camera Ventures, Cameratori, and all that there. And probably doing Photokina if I can in September. Photokina is going to be complicated because I have a wedding in November and my work doesn't do well with me taking days off normal work. So we'll figure it out. Joey or Joseph Delgadillo says B&H is selling Provia 35, half off right now. Some of that stuff expires in September 2018. Just heads up. Yeah, they've been selling quite a bit of Provia expired B&H in 35 Provia. And it's much cheaper than usually, so do take advantage of that if you're a Provia shooter. I know Hogarth bought a bunch. A 5-pack. Yeah, it's from $13.99 to $6.99. Dated May 2018. Just in case you guys want to buy. Provia 100F in B&H. Thanks, Joey. Analog Adventure. Oh, I can't read that word. Calm is 1, 2, 3 and finish. All I know. Yeah, I don't know any Finnish, but it's fine. The Finnish are really great people and speak great English, so it shouldn't be a problem. It is Provia, says Hogarth, short dated 35mm Pro Packs. TV photo, what is the cheapest film you have used? Found some film called Shanghai 100 ISO 120 films on eBay the other day. Might be horrible, but fun to try. Sorry. TV photo. Shanghai 100 film. This is 4x5 by them. Forgot I had this box. But I've shot some of this, and it works pretty well. It's kind of like a Fomapan kind of film. It's classic grain. This one has one notch like the Fomapan does. It's really well boxed. It has half a box inside, half a box inside, half a box, plus then an envelope. And between each sheet, there's one little piece of paper. So you got to be careful with that. Hogger says Shanghai in 120. I tried it. It was really bad. The backing paper bled through. Hogger, that was the previous generation of Shanghai. The newer Shanghai, which is the one that TV photo probably found on eBay, is a totally new backing paper and film, and they've improved all of that. That backing paper that leaked was some film that was wrong, basically overheated, so it was bad. Are they a manufacturer? It could be Fomapan. Yes, these people are manufacturers of this film. It's being made in China. I have a good friend, partner in different things that lives in China, and he is in contact with Shanghai and with Lucky. Lucky is making 35. It's making 4x5, 8x10, such. They have been coming out with 400 speed and such. Lucky Film in China, just so you guys know, was fully supported by Kodak. At some point, Kodak went in as a stockholder and gave him a bunch of, I guess, their know-how on film, and then backed off, I think in 2004. So Lucky Film is good. The only problem they're having is they're trying to sell this Chinese film, which most of us think Chinese products are like a second or B grade film, and they're selling it for an A grade price, but because it supposedly is very good. I haven't tested it myself, but it's very hard for people to understand that that film can be as good as Kodak or Ilford. So we'll see where it goes. They're not going to stop, and I'll probably test it out and let you guys know. This Shanghai I'll probably use and let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, it's not that bad, and I think it's worth it, at least a try. But what is the cheapest film I've used, considering I haven't used that Shanghai yet, is probably Fomapan 100 in 4x5 and 8x10, which is very cheap. And in color, I think it's being Kodak Color Plus, which is grainy, but it works for those snapshots I take of the family and stuff. Let me see. How says my Shanghai, just the box and the dark bag. How is shooting Shanghai right now, probably. Oh, just the box and the dark bag. Maybe they've changed the packaging. Analog Adventure, cheapest film I ever tried was Rolly RPX, 450 sheets at 30 euros. Only problem is that it was so thin. It was like loading air. After 4 sheets, I gave the pack away. Yeah, Fomapan 100 in 4x5 here. I think I paid like 26 for 50 sheets, or maybe 30. So that's extremely cheap. Stuart says, as I retire back to Xi'an, China in 2019, would like to contact your friend for getting film developer stuff scanning in China. Stuart, let me know when you retire and you go to China. I'll be happy to set you there with whatever you need. Hopefully I'll be visiting China soon, so maybe I'll go give you a visit if I can. I know China is humongous, so this might be totally off my travel plans, but yeah, that's the whole idea. My idea is to go visit Chamonix in China. TV photo, read on a forum that Lucky was a license of T-Max 100, but that's what I read. Got a few of those as well in the mail. I got to test it out too. I don't have any in the mail, but I should get some. Holger says that's why Cine still hasn't come out with a 4x5 yet. The film was apparently way too thin. Yeah, when I went to Photokina, excuse me, I interviewed the brothers, and they said their 4x5 was extremely thin, and they're very scared of basically the paper thin film not being in the registration for 4x5. So that was the basic problem. They were going to fulfill the Kickstarter, and then they would maybe make it. And I've heard somewhere that it will be made again. So we'll see probably 4x5 Cinestill film again. Johannes says, got a full book loader of Pan X for free once when I was buying a bunch of black and white paper from a guy. I mean, free paper and free film, I mean, that would be the cheapest, but I'm trying to figure out the cheapest film I bought that you can buy new, if that makes any sense. Haga says, Xi'an is one of my favorite cities. When you go there, can I come hang out with you? I need to find a job and move there. Let's go. I'd be happy to go to China and visit. Stuart says that Xi'an is the home of the terracotta soldiers. It's willing to visit for that. Tom Sawyer says, hi, I'm already waiting for the flash film photography video. If you remember, I'm really curious about your ideas and tips. Thank you, greetings from Germany. Tom, that will come. I've been having a lot of issues with myself in the video making, and I've decided to make a little bit of a shift on the channel, mainly because I have so many ideas that it's very hard to concentrate on doing one. I have a lot of 35, medium format, large format, darkroom videos I want to do and stuff like that. So I'm going to shift to try to focus on one kind of video for a while. And from there, I will slowly branch into the different departments that I want to touch. So yeah, but it will be studio and flash with film, because when I shoot large format in the studio, it's always with flash unless there's a lot of light. And that's not something that's happening at this very moment during winter. But yeah, that will be coming. Sorry for the wait, Tom. Haga says, yeah, I'm aware. We could go to, that makes no sense. Evian, hello. Hi, Evian. Stuart, okay, that's it. Meet up in 2019. My home is in Xi'an. 2019, China makes a lot of sense. Joseph Delgadillo, Ultrafine Extreme is really good, cheap film. I've only shot the 400 and 135. The Ultrafine Extreme, I don't know if it's FOMA or if it's Cantamir, but it's good to know that it's good. The cheapest in 35 I've shot, I think all I've shot in 35 is Ilford HP5. So that's all I can say. Sorry, when we decided to go to Xi'an, we went because we wanted to go Mount Huashan. Cool, guys. I wish I knew where all of that stuff was. I need to travel a bit more. But yeah, so what I was saying, I'm sure it's Kentmere, which is a good film. Could be wrong, though. Yeah, I think Ultrafine uses Kentmere, and it's Freestyle that sells the Arista EDU as education, which is Fomapan. If you guys want to see, there's a whole thing on Rangefinder Forum. Rangefinder Forum Foma Factory. This is a very old thread, but just in case, guys, if you Google, because for those watching later, if you Google Rangefinder Forum Foma Factory, first one, visiting Foma Factory, you can check out how Foma Factory looks, which is pretty impressive because it looks like they make everything but film. And it's really interesting because it's all the Arista Edu and Fomapan paper and stuff. It's pretty cool. Lots of pics. Analog Adventure. Speaking of not so cheap film, the Natura 1600 must be the only 1600 ISO film out there. It looks so great. I wish I shot more 35. I could stock up on that. They basically just discontinue it, Spain. So yeah, if you want to get it, just buy it as much as you can. Joseph says, I think it's Cantemir too. It has a more in common with Ilford Films than FOMA, in my opinion. It's too bad Arista Premium Tri-X is gone. It was such a good price. Yeah, back in the day, you used to have the Arista Premium in Freestyle, which was Tri-X, just basically badged as that, and it was very cheap. Stuart says Huashan to the west of Xi'an by fast train is a trip of a hike. Check out YouTube. I will check that out. Let me just take a screenshot of that. Stuart, are you telling me or Nico? In March, the UK photography show here in Berlin. Anybody coming? I'm not going in March to the UK. I am planning on doing something in the UK regarding photography. Not a documentary or anything like that yet. I still have to finish the Intrepid, but something towards kind of like a bit more community-wise. I'll let you guys know. I have a meeting on Monday, and hopefully something will come out of that. Ebian said, did you see the latest Ben Horn video on the Intrepid 8x10? I would be interested to see how all the knob threads hold up with being tied up with elastic like that. I've been kind of holding on to my opinion on the Intrepid cameras till I had one. So far, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I find the Intrepid cameras to be, someone put it really well the other day, they are cheap cameras, but you need more experience. So what I mean by that is all the people using them, like Ben Horn, Alan Brock, are people that have learned how to shoot large format with higher grade or premium cameras. And when they grab an Intrepid, they know exactly what to do. And they can play around with whatever little fiddly things that could be not wrong, but not as right as other cameras, which are more expensive, triple times price, even more. So what happens is, if you're new to large format and you grab an Intrepid, it's going to take you a lot of time. There's going to be a hard learning curve to using it. And I don't say don't get it. I just say get it and understand that what you're saving in money, you're going to have to save in patience and learning. So the elastic bands are fine. You do have to be careful when you pull them out and in the dark the film holder, because it tends to bunch up on one side, and when you pull it out, it comes out. So it has a few little quirks. But I want to do a video when I have my hands on one so I can show the benefits of it and show how to overcome those things that are not exactly up to spec to maybe an Ebony camera or a Chamonix camera or Arca Swiss, which are premium cameras that are going for 4, 5, 10 times more than an Intrepid. So yeah, we'll see how it goes when I get my hands on one. Layton says, Stuart, I was thinking about going, not so sure. We can both meet up. Okay. Analog Adventure is all Arista FOMA. Right now, all the Arista EDU, like education, is FOMA. Arista makes an ortho light litho film, but I don't know if it's FOMA originally. Could be cool to test. I actually have a box of that Arista ortho film somewhere on 11x14. I wonder what will come out of that. Stuart, anybody ever use the Hasselblad flex body for tilt and shift? I now have one and ready to give it a go, like large format with ground glass. Stuart, I haven't used the flex body, but I do know people that use it. The main problem you're going to have with this flex body is the Hasselblad V lenses are not meant to really be shifted around a lot. So the image circle is extremely small. So you got to make minimal movements and look online. There's a bit of an information. about what are the best lenses that give a little bit of a bigger circle. I think it's the 40 millimeter that gives one of the biggest circles, but I'm really just not remembering this. But it's an extremely fun camera to use. It's very creative, as you can do all these kind of weird. There's a lot of examples on Flickr I've seen, and I found it to be very fun. I wanted to get one for a while, but I kind of stopped wanting it when I realized I'd rather just go out with a full large format camera, mostly because it's kind of like in the end the same weight and the same size when you put the whole kit together. Federico Flores, what's your opinion about the lens Nikon 80 to 200 2.8? I've never really used the 80 to 200. I've only used the 70 to 200, and it was a pretty extremely good lens. But that was when I thought zoom lenses and 2.8 lenses were the best thing ever. I've been wanting to give it a try again with film bodies like a Nikon F5, which I used with it. With the 70 to 200, and it was extremely fast to focus, and it was really good. So if that's the kind of photography you're into, I've heard really good things about it. I can't say much more because I've never used the 80 to 200. Haga says the Hasselblad arc body is a big improvement over the flex body. Yeah, the arc body is an improvement because the lenses are meant to be used for movements, but the thing is the arc body is so much more expensive if you can find it. Like Stuart is saying, he was trying to find one and he couldn't. So yeah, Haga says lens coverage CFE 40 plus minus 1 millimeter, the 50 5 millimeters, the 60 10 millimeters, the 100 14, the 120 14, the 150 15. So I guess you want to probably use a wider lens, so probably the 60 is the best. Actually, my favorite lens on the Hasselblad system was always the 60. So if I ever try to get another Hasselblad lens, which I have but not the 60, I would want to get that 60 because I just like the just slightly wider. I mean, my favorite lenses are usually a 35, so that's how it is. TV Photo says, just remember there's going to be a photography show in Stockholm in the beginning of March. I think it was the 9th to the 11th. We'll try to attend. Nothing like Photokina, but anyway. Yeah, the one I want to go in Helsinki, the 2nd or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March is kind of like a photography show too, and that's how it was. Harth, why do you like the 60? I always found the 80 to be a little too normal, like a 50 on 35. Everyone shoots the 80. There's so many images with that 80, but I like that slightly wider. I felt it gave like a depth of field that's just slightly bigger. I have a shot in like in a restaurant. It wasn't actually a restaurant. It's kind of like a private club with amazing light shot on the 60 that I absolutely love. And I'll share with you guys on the Flickr group. And but yeah, I don't know. I just liked it better. It felt like a nicer lens than the 80. When I want to shoot portraits, I shoot the 150, and then when I shoot normal stuff, I shot 60. I sold it sadly, and now I miss it. But yeah, guys, it's 10 o'clock, and I'm slightly sick, so. I'm really eager to go to sleep. So yeah, thanks for ever use the 180. Nope, never use the 180. It looks pretty awesome. I have heard it's pretty amazing, and I would love it. I think it's even better than the 150. But yeah, thanks guys for joining me again. Good night to those who are in my time zone, and we'll see each other next week. The news will be up probably tomorrow or Friday. I recorded them on Monday, but I couldn't do it on Tuesday. Not a lot of big news, but there's some interesting news out there. Thanks for coming and asking as always, and see you next week.